Okay, so it's almost May, which, as we all know, is Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander Heritage Month, or as it's now called, just May. But that doesn't mean we're still not throwing a ridiculously Asian Hack City that's coming this Friday, May 9th at Union Hall in Brooklyn. I tell you who the comics are, but I don't want them to get raided by the feds. Just know that Hack City is happening May 9th, Union Hall, Brooklyn, 7:30 p.m. Tickets available at asian.asianpod.com in the episode description, or just Google Hack City Comedy.
You know, the Hunter S. Thompson quote I like to, I'm quoting a lot of people now, but when the going gets weird, the weird turn pro. And that feels right for everything right now.
Yeah.
Right? Like if you have a radical adaptability, chaos is comfortable, then it's going to, work in your favor right now. And just like you want to take big swings, but you also want to be able to, stay nimble.
Welcome to another episode of the Asian Not Asian podcast. The Redacted Not Redacted podcast. The podcast with all your favorite redacted friends. It is John Dalton.
And this is Dame Maggie Smith.
Dame Maggie Smith. So nice of you to join us from the afterlife.
Yeah, it's me. I'm an old white lady.
I was watching a whole bunch of one of my favorite things on my YouTube algorithm is clips of Downton Abbey. So I got home from Hack City last night, and me and my wife have to sleep in the living room. I'll tell you about it. But we were sleeping in the living room, and so I was like being being served up a bunch of amazing clips of
Downton Abbey.
Downton Abbey.
That if there's a marker
so
of
good.
like your life, like it's very clear to tell that you're a dad in his 40s.
Because I had to sleep out in the living room with my wife.
And you find relaxation by watching Downton Abbey.
It's so comforting, and the fits are amazing.
Yeah,
I know
I agree with you there.
I know it is propaganda, but I'm okay with it because I'm aware it's propaganda.
Yeah, if you're aware it's propaganda, you can't be impacted by it.
That's just math.
That's just how psychology
That's just
works.
how it goes. Okay, but you know what else is propaganda? This podcast, and thank you very much for joining us. Some information, I guess, up top. If you're listening on your phones, hey, hit us up, leave us a review, a rating if you're on the podcast app. Take a screenshot and post it up onto your Instagram stories or your TikToks or whatever it is, and tag us. That's the best way to promote the podcast. If you're on YouTube, like, rate, subscribe, do all that usual stuff. On Spotify, you can also leave reviews and comments, and I see all of them because I have to approve them all, and it's awesome. They're always so nice. Thank you so much for doing that. Tell your friends, of course, and of course support us on Patreon. Patreon.com/Asian Not Asian Pod is the best way to support the podcast. We're putting up content. I put up our hosting set.
Oh yeah.
For Hack City, and I think people like it. I think 5 people watched it, but that's a lot more than before. So I think they're fun, and it's just a little taste of Hack City. The next Hack City is May 9th, okay? And that will be full on, deep into it.
We did this yesterday.
Okay, go. Can you do it?
What was it?
Asian
American Pacific Islander Native Hawaiian Heritage Month, which might not exist at that point.
Right.
So we'll see. Fingers crossed.
It might be redacted,
Yeah.
and redacted, native redacted.
Yeah.
Heritage Month. In which case, either way, come out and support the show. I was telling everybody, come out, but because we may be, redacted, leave your phones at home so that ICE can't track you, and it'll be a great time. It's always a great time there. Real quick, we're going to give us some shout-outs to our Patreon subscribers. If you subscribe to us or if you support us on Patreon, we give you, a little love, and, why not? Here it is. Here. We got a couple. Okay, I'm gonna mess this name up because it has an apostrophe in it. It's Pilani. It's this one here.
Pilani?
Pilani. It's a beautiful name.
Beautiful name.
It's a beautiful name. It is a fire ass name. It is
way
the
we looked at
name.
each other and went, beautiful name.
It is a name that like it's giving me Klingon Empire but tropical.
Oh,
You know?
I wish I understood that, but I'm like a jock, so I don't know like what a Klingon Empire is. You know?
I forgot that Dame Maggie Smith is a huge jock. Yeah, I know this. I know this person through social media, so
Oh,
I know
okay.
that they are a practitioner of martial arts,
Whoa.
and it is
a
awesome.
fellow jock.
A fellow jock.
Yeah, just two jocks.
Just two jocks jocking up.
Yeah. They have
Yeah.
no idea what a Klingon is. You know what I mean?
Well, Klingons, they're really the jocks of the Star Trek universe.
Oh, okay. Then I relate to the experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't know anything about Star Trek?
I've watched the remake
The remake.
with John Cho.
Oh,
and,
that one. Okay.
Chris Pine.
Yeah.
And I watched it at Berkeley, and it was crazy because they're both Berkeley grads.
Yes.
So we went nuts.
The most successful people, the Nobel
The
Prize
hottest
winners.
people from Berkeley.
Literally the hottest
Yeah,
people.
ever.
Everyone else looks like me.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
Except for dressed like in basketball shorts and a sweatshirt that says Cal on it.
One of my we're getting like way off topic.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay,
Sorry,
so
Pailani.
okay. Pete Ilani, thank you very much. Kapla. That's a little Klingon for you. Okay. The next one is Emily Kahn.
Mm-hmm.
Emily Kahn. These two people, by the way, Pete Ilani and Emily Kahn, I think they're re-upping from last year, which is awesome.
Oh, wow.
They're like,
Thank you so much.
I get, so it's like they recommitted
Yeah.
to the resistance.
Yeah.
Which is really nice.
They're like, it's like we had our relationship talk, and they're like, we want to keep going.
Wow.
Yeah.
How crazy would that be if in your relationships you had to,
An annual check-in.
yeah, on your anniversary be
Yeah.
like, you still want to do this?
Yeah, a performance review. Except for one person chips in money monthly
Right.
to help it keep going.
I mean, isn't that marriage? Huh? Patriarchy. Okay, the next one is Brian Garcia.
Uh-huh. Okay, so
We're thinking. We're thinking. What's Brian Garcia's vibe here? I'm thinking.
it's Brian with a Y, by the way.
Brian with a Y.
That makes me feel like you're young. Is that real?
I
feel like
I
people
think
in the
so.
90s with Brian with an I.
Yeah, and then Brian with a Y that started like 2002ish.
Yeah.
But I think this guy he's giving me a little bit of he helps run his parents something.
Oh,
Like his parents' business, of
Yeah.
which I don't know, but he
Yeah.
helps run it,
I see.
you know?
It's an indoor baseball. What do you call it?
Yeah, like a batting cage.
batting cage.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. This is it. He puts on a helmet and protective gear and he goes out there.
And he goes and he puts the
He
balls,
puts the balls
into
back
the machine.
in the machine and he's like, there's got to be a better way. There isn't, Brian.
There isn't.
Get your ass out there. Well, thank you very much for giving us all your concussion money, Brian.
Yeah.
I think this guy went up a tier.
Oh, really?
I think. In which case, thank you so much. I know
Yes,
times are
thank
tough
you.
right now. We lost like $6 trillion in value in this economy. Not
Yeah.
us, because we're.
But it was all
regular people.
collective, so it's like
It was
we're
a
all kind of doing
collective.
it
We
together.
spread it out over, and Brian was fine with it.
Yeah.
So thank you very much. Again, that's patreon.com/Asian Not Asian Pod. Okay, we're just going to jump into it because let's do it. Today's guest is, I wrote this, and I hope this is accurate.
We'll find out.
Okay, it is a comedian, director, producer, was a candidate for vice chair of the Democratic National Committee.
Yes.
Yep. Now creative advisor. Still, and then Josh Burstein.
Hit me.
That was a wild pause. It's and then
And then
to put an and then in there was
And then?
interesting.
Josh Burstein. How's it
Yay.
going?
Hello, hello. Hey, just living the dream, fighting the nightmare.
Yeah.
It is, morale is okay, all things considered.
Wow. That's
You
good to
seem
hear.
very chill for
Yeah.
someone who is. I mean, I feel you're. I guess first, what would you say you do? What is that thing?
I am a comedian and a political hack.
Okay.
Yeah. And in both cases, I try and inspire people and make people give a damn about things that matter.
That's nice.
Can't relate to that.
Yeah, I can't relate to that either.
We
Dick and fart jokes, too.
Yeah.
we try to make people more depressed and buy drinks from us. That's
Like
how
tip your bartenders.
tip your bartender.
Yes.
Yeah.
So sad. Okay. Well, I want to get into all the different aspects of what you do, and then also talk about everything, you're taking some time because you're like technically working right now, right? Are you working? Are you on the clock
Always a
thing?
little bit.
Okay.
Oh, for the thing today?
for the thing today?
I'm mentally preparing.
Okay.
And at the ready
Really?
if Bernard Sanders calls me asking for fig Newtons or something.
Do you call him that? Do you call him, hey, Bernard?
Bernard.
Like
No.
only his closest friends call him
Yeah.
Bernard, and everybody else calls him Bernie.
Yeah.
Once again,
That's
I want you to call me Bernie.
Once again, stop calling me Bernard. It makes me uncomfortable. Well, again, you're working right now. I mean, sort of mentally. So we appreciate you coming out
Yes.
here. But very quickly, we want to kind of just get things going with what kind of redacted were you today? I got one.
Yeah,
But,
why don't you start?
okay, I was a bad father redacted.
Okay.
I'm a bad father redacted, which is, so I am, I'm freelancing also, and I'm working from home, and it's awesome, but I am the main caretaker of my children, and it is a lot. Okay, I thought it was going to be like Mr. Mom, or, 3 men and a baby, just
Yeah.
like funny little antics where, oh no, somebody's, I got my kid peed in my face on accident while I was changing their diaper. Ha 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 ha. And it's not like that. It's a lot of just like sighing a lot,
Yeah.
crying from my aspect, from me, not
You
from
throw the
them.
tantrums.
I throw the tantrums. They're very calm, but it's a lot. And I was doing the thing, and I was like, I don't think I'm doing this right. I don't think I'm doing the dad thing right, because I'm like barely treading water. I think I'm like just barely. They're alive, and they're fed, and they're pooping where they need to poop, and that's like, I'm like, check.
Yeah. That's beautiful.
And that's honestly all I can do. I don't know how other people are like, I'm going to homeschool them. I'm going to make them food every single day. I'm going to whatever, like have a structure to the day where they're going to learn about shapes and then countries. No. None of that. Okay. I do what I would consider the minimum. And that for me is the maximum. And I'm like, am I being a bad father? And I'm not really sure.
If it makes you feel better, everybody's winging it, right?
Yeah.
Barack Obama was winging it,
Was he? Don't tell me that.
We're all just kind of like white knuckling it.
Yeah. I mean, I think if they're alive, you're succeeding. At this age especially.
That's
They're
true.
babies.
Kids I don't think they enjoy being alive. They enjoy watching TV, but everything else, they're sort of like, they don't like eating. They don't like sleeping. So it is they are entropy. They're like entropy, but in like cute clothing.
Yeah.
And it's
Life is pain. They
Life
like
is pain.
Werner
Yeah.
Herzog kind of like
yes,
little guys.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, they sound like Werner Herzog too.
Yeah.
They have a crazy accent.
Pain's a
Yeah.
pain. Okay, that does make me feel a little better that we're trying to do that. But that's what kind of redacted I was. Josh, what kind of redacted were you this week?
I was mixed feelings. Asian.
Oh.
redacted.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I can get into this.
Yeah.
Tell us about it.
Yeah.
Well, I think you already mentioned, but we're getting ready for a happy AAPI month, and I'm also Jewish, so it's like double, like it's my month.
Oh,
But
is
it
it also
also-
Jewish
Yeah.
Heritage Month? Really,
Yeah.
May?
I
Whoa.
know the Hebrews are rolling strong.
Yeah,
into
you
May.
and Dylan Adler
Basically,
are crushing it this
yes.
month.
I am
Next
Dylan
month.
Adler.
I
Yeah.
am cis Dylan Adler here, ready to go. And yeah, so I think it's just this reminder of like, obviously celebration, you reconnect with some folks, but then like that tiger mom Jewish overbearingness comes in, like it just feels like, oh, but why have you not been cast in Shang-Chi 2 yet? You'd be great in that role. Like it's just like a reminder of like a passage of time, and I think I'm just extra hard on myself in May.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Wow,
While there's revelry.
Yeah.
You get I didn't realize.
It's like a birthday almost. It sounds like the way you like track the passage of time.
Yeah, well, and my birthday tends to be on election day, so happy E-Day
Oh,
to me.
no.
And
Is
so I
your
don't.
birthday November 6th?
November 6th.
Oh,
No
wow. It's like you were meant to. Well, I don't
Yeah.
know, actually.
I like that it has value,
Yeah.
like at this age, but it also means I don't really have major celebrations or
Yeah.
anything. And
What did you do for this last election for celebration?
oh
to
well,
celebrate?
you'd love this. I hosted a sold out show on election night at Caveat.
Oh, I remember
Oh, hell
this.
yeah.
Yeah.
You put this up. Was it like a live watch of all the country falling apart, or what?
Yeah, well, we did a little comedy, we did some sketches, and then we were doing like reactions to live returns, and I could kind of tell where it was going,
Yeah.
and still smiling on stage because I'm turning a new age at midnight, so it's like it rolls into my birthday.
Oh
And,
my
and so, like,
God.
honestly, I'm so happy that we were able to provide
Yeah.
joy for
Yeah.
90 more minutes than anyone else had that night.
Yeah.
But trauma comedy isn't exactly like the MO I want. right?
Yeah.
And I'll do it again.
Wow.
I'm
Good for
sadistic.
you.
For his third term,
Yeah. So,
for his third term, yeah, we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it every year.
If
until-
I'm not in a camp.
yeah, and if we'll get into that. I feel this time around too, it was less shocking. I don't know why. The re-election was sort of like, oh well, I kind of knew this was gonna happen. You know, I mean, it was still bums, but
Yeah.
it was like, it wasn't as like disruptive in my mind.
I want to be, I'm a grieving optimist. I really
Yeah.
wanted to believe that people would learn, and
Yes.
he did absolutely nothing to improve his station over the last how long. But yeah, when it hit, it was less of a gut punch.
Yeah.
But, you know, I don't know where to find faith in the American electorate again. You know,
Oh, yeah. None.
tough.
You don't.
It's tough.
You don't. Join us. Join the mold people, dude. Us mold people.
Well, that's the thing. I was like, do I want to just like go back to exclusively dick and fart jokes or
Yeah.
start a jet ski business in Guatemala? Do I want to be happy, or do I want to like run to the fire because it's going to be better to, you know, show up now than inherit the ashes? And this
Yeah.
is like no cavalry's coming. It needs to be us to actually, you know, create that change
Yeah.
and fight against all the bad.
Wow.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Wow.
I need more of that juice.
We do. As a mold person, I feel that that it's tingling my senses. Well, thanks again. You talked a little bit about, you're like an interesting guy because
Like and interesting.
you're
Yeah.
like an interesting guy.
You're similar
You're
to one
similar to one
Yeah.
that we
I've-
know.
Read kind of.
Yeah. That can you get a little closer to the mic too?
Yes, I may.
Thanks. And like, because like how long have we known each other? We've just you've been doing comedy for a little while.
Yeah.
But before this, you worked for Obama.
Mhm.
And what'd you do there?
Well, great boss, charming Muslim from Kenya.
Like you worked with him. Like
Yeah. So I was the first new media guy for Students for Barack Obama, and kind
Whoa.
of just spent my whole 20s working in digital strategy and creating content and just like being on the road, either telling the story of real people impacted by the ACA or something, or just in the bubble with Michelle or Barack or a bunch of other folks, and Asian guy with a camera.
whoa, really?
How do you get into that?
You'd be surprised what just competency and continuing to show up can do in
Yeah.
any situation. But it was just, playing poker in the basement of the student newspaper that, met
Wow.
the Students for Barack Obama folks when it was like him and John Edwards and
Yeah.
Hillary. It was like very less defined.
Uh-huh.
And then, it's just like you're just in the trenches and you go through a campaign and you continue to want to work with the same people that went through that. So
Yeah.
I think it just kind of keeps leveling up from there. And in between elections, I would go back to wanting to pursue entertainment
Yeah.
and try and persuade that way. But then every even-numbered October, I'd get that itch and had to jump back to Wisconsin and go win an election.
Oh, so you were also interested in doing kind of comedy stuff. I mean, I guess they were kind of related, but you were interested in doing that also while you were working kind of in the political thing.
It's funny. I think about this now, but I always loved SNL. Always,
Of course,
wanted to be the first Asian Jewish correspondent on the Daily Show. That was
Yeah.
the dream. But for some reason, I thought it was more realistic to go work in the White House than just try an open mic.
To me, that's the most Asian thing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
that's doable. I had the same mentality.
I
where,
actually know exactly what you're talking
yes,
about.
studying political science, I was like, that is doable. SNL, impossible.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
But I never would go to a mic. I just had such a fear of taking that leap. And then I just kind of recognized this is a useful skill in general. So I don't think it actually started as I'm going to be a comedian. It was more, this is skydiving to a lot of people. We're the philosophers of our time,
Oh,
so it's
God,
just
yeah.
what is it to learn this craft? Because if I can go do this in front of, an audience, then I can go tell a billionaire how to run his business. I can go, do that stump speech. I can go talk to the cute girl at the bar. Like it was just a tool.
You think so? Like, tell me more. Tell me more about that. Because like, do you feel like doing whatever, being a creative, a comedian, standing at an open mic? You think that's a transferable thing to other things?
It's cheaper than therapy, as everyone knows. But I think it's that. My favorite quote from Colbert is, "When you're laughing, you're not afraid." And so coming from the advocacy standpoint, I was like, people rely on satire to learn the news in a way that's not scary and still be able to go to bed like right after.
Yes.
So if I can learn to be the best, most persuasive comedian, I can go out to Trump country and talk about infrastructure and climate change and mention Joe Biden and not get like a "Let's go Brandon" chant. It's that like we've won them over, that we're all just having a good time here.
Oh, interesting.
And it's also just like incepting messages instead of expecting to change everything overnight with like big rousing hashtags and slogans.
So have you done that? Have you gone out into the field and talked to someone on the other side, whatever you want to call that, and like had that and have you been able to see that change? Because I feel sometimes the feeling is that like both sides or whoever, they're really entrenched. Everybody's like, in their camp with their spears, and like no one's coming in, no one's leaving, And I don't know if that's true. I want to say also that I could, talk to anybody about anything, and if we could find the thing that we are into, like we could do it. But I don't know. I've never really tried to persuade someone other than like, I hope you think I'm funny. I think I can do that. But like to actually get someone to change their mind, do you feel that is really possible?
Well, so part of the catalyst too is like my friend attracts a more Jeff Foxworthy audience than most, and so he'll sell out in the middle of nowhere, Midwest, and so getting immediate feedback from folks who do not agree with you, I think was really helpful. But to your point of like actual persuasion, I think it's just helpful to say, like, no matter what, you blunt the edge a little bit, right?
Yeah.
That, like, you are showcasing that we're not lizard people. You are seeing my humanity. You had a good time with me.
Yes.
And so you don't know what that's going to do next time you're not there, right? That, like, I get a lot of racist compliments when I'm on the road.
Yeah.
Hit me with one. Can you hit me with one?
Okay. The one that really sticks is, I don't know the right way to say this, but I like when people talk about when they're not normal, and I was just like, or just more importantly, like I'll lead a lot with like, "Hey, I'm Josh Burstein, just your run-of-the-mill Asian Jew from Tulsa, Oklahoma." And it's just like funny shorthand, and now you got an idea. People just like across the bar shout "Asian Jew," like that's how you greet other people in public,
Right.
and so it's just like, I am trying not to Uncle Tom it when I'm on the road doing this and inviting that.
Yeah.
But it's also like, they're trying to connect. They just don't know how to.
Yeah.
Right.
And so when I can massage that enough to be like, okay, you had a good experience with me. You clearly have never met another Asian person in your life.
Yeah.
And now
An Asian Jewish person.
Yeah. And now when they're like playing poker in a basement, like my the antithesis to what I was doing when I started Obama, they're going to start something maybe I don't want them to do, and they're talking about the Wuhan virus. They're like, well, they're not all bad. There was that one guy. He was pretty funny,
Yeah, that was a cool guy.
And that doesn't mean he's going to vote the way I want
Right.
next time. But maybe it's like they're just less angry or
That's interesting.
misunderstood.
Right.
That's interesting. I feel too, depending on the context, someone shouting Asian Jew at you across the room, terrible or pretty funny. Well, it's like it's one of the two. You're either about to like some bad stuff's about to happen, you got to get out of there, or you just made a friend.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, most of the time they're all very liquored up. The one time he just kept saying it, this one guy, and I was going to go off on him because I was losing my patience, and then I saw that he was a paraplegic veteran, and I'm just like, you take that one.
Yeah. I won't win this one.
That's fine. Yeah, you get one.
Not
You
get
get one,
one.
buddy.
Yeah.
One per leg.
Thank you for your
That's
misogyny. Yeah.
that's so now you do stand up, but then I mean I've done you have like a talk show and you kind of produce these kinds of things. You are someone, and I've never thought about this before until just what you just said, but you have Daily Show face. You look like you should be on the Daily Show. You know what I'm saying? And you
put that on a book jacket.
For
send
sure.
that right over to the producers.
You got
Appreciate
put
that.
yourself in a conservative blue suit and the tie, and you're right there, doing the desk bit. I feel, and so is that sort of like what your goal is? Like that's like the vision you want to have is I'm on that show now.
It's still the dream.
Yeah.
I think what's unique now, because I'm maxed out on the political acumen of doing that.
Yeah,
now it's
yeah.
just
sure.
how do I become the best comedian for that format? But I think what's going to be the new definition is not trying to like hitch a wagon to a dying star known as broadcast late night television.
Right.
Yeah.
It's who's going to figure out the next version of that vehicle that works vertical, that works on YouTube, that works for everything else. And I've had conversations with some of these late night shows, and it's funny because it's similar to the political conversations of people understanding they need to improve, but not wanting to change themselves or being afraid of like the slow moving thing. You don't get dinged for doing the same thing over and over. You put your neck out, and like a lot of folks are worried about that.
Right.
So, yeah, there's just no turnover in those things. I think it's easier to find an open Supreme Court justice role than a correspondent.
Yeah.
But that is why I moved out to New York,
Yeah.
and I am going to keep punching up until they, give me a seat.
Yeah.
I feel like we all know, yes, media is going away, it's splintering, the landscape is splintering, but there's those legacy shows that are, I don't know, they still rack up a lot of views.
Totally.
They put John back on there. They got back. They got some of their mojo back. I'm like, it's coming back all the way around. I stopped watching it for a little while, and then now I'm again back to watching it. And so, to your point, there's like these legacy guys who are, I think, gonna be there. They're just kind of gonna be there for a while because us old millennials are just gonna keep tuning in, and we all know that what's the next thing. I think nobody knows what it is.
Yeah.
It's going to be like the Ouija board where like 1 million people are going to make that decision and none of them individually know. Everybody kind of wishes it was this thing, and that's like the freaky thing.
It's
don't you think?
Quibi. It's definitely Quibi.
I think
Yeah.
it's definitely Quibi.
Yeah.
Bring back Quibi.
Quibi.
Sponsored by Quibi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, shh. So, as I was saying earlier, I have to be quiet because my kids are asleep and I need to be as quiet as possible. You see, having kids is a huge factor in my life and probably one of the many internal things that might be contributing to my hair thinning. That's why I use Nutrafol, because Nutrafol is the #1 dermatologist recommended hair growth supplement brand trusted by over 1.5 million people. See thicker, stronger, faster growing hair with less shedding in just 3 to 6 months with Nutrafol. Thinning hair is different for men and women, so a one-size-fits-all approach to hair growth doesn't cut it. Nutrafol has multiple formulas for men and women that are tailored to different life stages, such as postpartum or menopause, and lifestyle factors, such as a plant-based lifestyle or having a lot of kids, so you can get just what you need. Physician formulated with 100% drug-free ingredients, Nutrafol supports healthy hair growth from within by targeting key root causes of thinning: stress, hormones, aging, nutrition, lifestyle, and metabolism through whole body health. Start your hair growth journey with Nutrafol. For a limited time, Nutrafol is offering our listeners $10 off your first month subscription and free shipping when you go to Nutrafol.com and enter the promo code ASIAN. Find out why over 4,500 healthcare professionals and stylists recommend Nutrafol for healthier hair. Nutrafol.com, spelled Nutrafol.com, promo code ASIAN. That's Nutrafol.com, promo code ASIAN.
Well, the Hunter S. Thompson quote I like to, I'm quoting a lot of people now, but when the going gets weird, the weird turn pro. And that feels right for everything right now.
Yeah.
Right? Like if you have a radical adaptability, chaos is comfortable, then it's going to, work in your favor right now. And just like you want to take big swings, but you also want to be able to, stay nimble in business and comedy and everything right now.
You're such a digital strategist.
Yeah.
That's such a digital strategy line right there. Like
Yeah.
what you just gave me. That's
Yeah.
like the end slide that,
Yeah.
I'm reminded of like the Bo Burnham inside, like what does Cheez-Its have to say about the war on?
Yeah.
Oh man, that hits way too close to home. Trust me.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we can have a fun exchange here because, not to toot our own horn, but I've been doing comedy for a minute. I think I know what I'm doing with comedy.
Sure.
I don't have any, results from that, but
Yeah, and anything to show for it.
nothing at all.
Yeah.
Low hemoglobin count. That's the one. But I think I know. So I think maybe it would be a fun thing where, hey, you got any questions about comedy? Maybe you can ask me, and then I'll ask you a question about politics.
Okay.
Can we do
Oh,
that?
wow.
Sure.
A
Let's try it.
knowledge exchange.
Yeah.
Yes, we're gonna. Oh, you don't know this Vulcan mind meld. Okay, it's something Vulcans do.
I can do that.
God,
Yeah.
I beat up nerds in my spare time. I don't think about this.
I
Okay.
eat nerds like you for
Ye-
breakfast.
exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, first thing. Okay, here we go.
Mm.
What's up with the Democrats?
Dem Dems.
What's up?
Yeah. So.
Because people I think are mad. People are like, "What's going on here?"
Yeah, you could put me in that corner.
Yeah,
They want to see some fight.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Cory Booker. He did the
Great job
the-
standing. Yeah.
Yeah, he did the long speech, but it wasn't an actual filibuster. We don't got enough people like doing and throwing rocks and shit. And I think there's this feeling like, why can't we have our Tea Party? Like people who are super disruptive and people are all up in that. What do you think?
I think the DNC has the brand viability of Nickelback.
Damn.
Yeah.
That is
And I
correct.
like
Cold-blooded.
Nickelback for what it's worth.
And you're like, yeah, I do. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to say Train, but that just doesn't resonate in the same way.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
Nickelback. Yeah,
It's
Nickelback.
Nickelback.
It's Nickelback.
I ran for vice chair to just sound the alarm because I got out clean. I was doing comedy. I felt good. I got Biden in there, made 100 digital ads for him in 2020, and then I
Yeah.
was like, all right, full clown mode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Clown
committed to creative. And I came back in because we have to invest in this thing, and it's unfortunately not doing a lot to give us faith or feel a sense of belonging to it, right? If you're on a college campus right now, being a young Democrat is so lame.
Yeah.
You might be liberal,
Yeah.
Right.
but you don't feel like that's a thing you want to be a part of.
Yeah.
Right.
And we have done nothing to create a sense of community, especially on the ground when we're doing all these hit it and quit it campaigns of texting weird thirst traps asking for $20.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just
Yeah.
the tactics are so bad and tone deaf. And the people at the top don't have a lot of innovation left in them.
Yeah.
So
So that's why you ran for vice chair.
yeah, I specifically talking about messaging modernization, addressing the brand issues,
Yeah.
and investing in the infrastructure on the ground, and saying what can we do to incentivize a senior at OSU to stay in that community and continue to be a force in that community and champion democratic values. And I think one of the biggest challenges in these purple places outside of this podcast booth is people don't know what Democrats stand for. They say that, and you have to show, not tell, what that is.
Yeah.
And that happens by creating the one-on-one relationships.
Yeah.
And these parasocial relationships of a Joe Rogan to the left that they're all seeking. Right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
you don't get that if you show up 6 weeks before the election.
Oh, so you just got to be in there doing the thing.
Yeah, and that's hard, to actually brick by brick try and establish these relationships. And then as far as what's happening right now and why you're mad that they're not mad enough, we have no levers of power. We lost. We should accept that we took an L and prepare for a big pendulum swing in the midterms and the next election. But I think Cory did a great thing by doing what was available to him of like
Yeah.
basically taking study hall and making a stand even though there wasn't anything happening.
Yeah.
You know, the Republicans could have just asked him to leave at any point, but you know, he gets one, right? Like I think that they, for pleasantries, allowed that.
Oh, they could have stopped it
Yeah, I think technically they could have taken a vote.
because there was not a. Well, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
I
but
don't
that's the
know
thing.
all
It's just like we don't have the House, we don't have the Senate, and it's
Right.
just razor thin. And it's amazing what you think like 50.5% you know, difference between red and blue. Well, we're seeing just how far a commander in chief can take that right
Yeah.
now, and I don't think a lot of people agree with what he's doing. But sometimes it's right to just sit in your corner and sulk and organize.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So like the things I'm gonna get in trouble for this, but like last week was hands off, and it just sounded like a gathering of the Karens, just like hands off something, hands
yeah,
off.
right,
yeah,
right,
yeah.
And it's just like, what do you stand for? What is this
is this?
for? You're just mad, and that's just like being a troll on like online. Like it's just,
Yeah.
I'm glad if you got a good feeling out of it. Now take that energy and you know start getting involved in local elections and
Yeah.
start building like the kind of connections you need to make more people show up next November.
Right.
Okay. I think.
I don't have any opinions on this.
No, that gives. I see what you're saying. You know, there are times where you just kind of, like you said, take an L, and
It's also like, this is what you voted for, so if this is what you want.
I think that too. I'm like, all right, well, you
Well,
know,
the problem is we don't want people to suffer. Like it would have
Yeah.
been politically better maybe to dismantle all healthcare and everything so people feel the hurt faster and
Yeah.
then we might get a positive result afterwards. It's just how many people are going
I
to
know.
hurt and got who voted for him.
Right.
Like we should create a space, like an open door to nurture the people when they realize that this guy might have been lying over and over and over for his
Yeah.
entire life.
But I think that's why I love like Bernie and AOC camp so much, is because they're like out there doing, like, to me, I feel like they're very out there on the ground right now. And I like that a lot. And it gives me like, okay, someone's doing something feeling right
yeah,
now.
that's fair.
Yeah, well, it's the shadow chancellor. Like there's that I think in the UK, but it's saying like let's present a different vision for America.
Yeah.
Let's actually say, you know, like this is extreme. Here's extreme helping people.
Right.
And
Right.
like, you know, maybe we can't do all of this in one election, but why can't we dream and talk about the policies that actually might be
Yes.
effective?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Well, do you have a comedy question for the comedy
Sure.
masters here over on this side of the table?
How be funny. You know, actually, I'm curious what your process is before you go up and just test out material. Because
Oh.
I feel like I still have this restriction, even if it's just 6 comedians working on a bench press wanting just like your
Yeah.
3 minutes at the Pine Box or something.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I still feel like I have to be really ready to talk about this and like off book or whatever. So like you're just like, this is something interesting. I just mold.
Right.
you know?
Yeah. Oh man, mold is so good. Let's see. For stand up in particular, the process right now, my process is get my kids ready for bed and then go to the show. That is like literally what my process is. But it's like doing a mic is you're working on a bunch of things at the same time, which you may or may not realize. One of which is the actual joke, but a bunch of other stuff is like your presence, your stage self, right? Those are all aspects of like you becoming, you know, acquiring your voice and who you are on stage. After like 12 years, I'm still working on it, and I can still tell like I get into a flow state, and it's pretty good. I think there's still a little bit where I'm like, okay, I could be a little bit more relaxed. But I think it's what I would say is when you go up there, you almost have to like meta do it where you're talking, but then you also have to listen to how you sound at the same time, because you know, are you in the moment enough? You know, are you there's a thing sometimes where comedians will panic and they'll either like try to do a save line. Do you know what I'm saying? Like something to just make a laugh happen. Sometimes when you're out in a crowd, you might like, throw yourself under the bus or throw like Asian people on the bus. Like I used to do that because I was like, I just needed them to laugh at me, ha ha ha, you know? And so you being comfortable with like, no, I'm in control and I'm in the moment and I'm going to surf this energy. That's like, you know, what you're trying to develop. At the mic, you're trying to develop like, how do I sound? And is this like, you know, what can I learn from how I'm on stage and doing stuff? So there is like, of course, you need to have jokes. And then once you go up there, you try to like go into the white room, you know, like you just like forget about what you're doing, and you're just like, yes, you have to deliver your material, but you can't like think too much about it. I just contradicted myself like 40 times, but it's that's the tension I think of doing comedy. Like you have to sound extemporaneous, like you just made it up, but you've prepared a ton.
Yeah.
But when you're there, you forget your preparation. You know? Yeah.
It's like a lawyer. You know, you have to be over prepared.
Exactly.
Because the day you're not prepared is when you fail, but you have to also just throw out that book or something.
Exactly. Yeah.
The flow state you just mentioned reminded me that presence, the election night spectacular of I'm here just to do the jokes I want, but like now I'm responsible for carrying everyone in this room's like feelings and emotions in the toughest night and realization that the world is changing.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they're not here to just wish me a happy birthday at midnight.
Yeah.
So, I think in reverse, like, do you check the game tape? Do you get very rigid about like running back?
I do.
Concepts.
I mean, I'll look at what I said, and at that point, I am looking for wording, you know. And if there's something that was funny that happened that I didn't know was going to be funny, so at that point, it's very mechanical. I'm like, okay, how's my phrasing, right? Because I do think phrasing is really important when you do it, because like the 5 or 6 words of the punchline, weirdly enough, that has to be exactly the same. No matter what, you have to do it exactly the same way. There's a timing to it that you have to have. And everything around it, you're just kind of like juggling shit in the air until it's time to lay it out. You know what I'm saying? It's a magic trick. So I am running back the tape a lot. Okay, next question, politically.
Well, Jenny, you're a jock, so I assume you check the game tape.
Yeah,
Me?
Jenny, what do you
Well,
think?
I don't do stand-up, so it's very different.
But like, what's your thing where, you know, whether it's like before we go up on do the hosting thing. I know you and I like we'll talk about like here's the thing we're going to talk about. You know?
I just want a general roadmap of where we're going.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I feel like my thing that I've worked on is not panicking. Because even if you don't get a laugh, it's like you just want the audience to trust you.
Yes.
So I feel like even in that, like hosting set stuff or improv, it's like not. The worst you can do is panic and then go for the laugh as immediate as possible, which is post when we started the pandemic and shut everything down and we went back to performing. I noticed everyone had that panic.
Really?
Like everyone across the board, because we hadn't performed live in like a while, other than Zoom, and Zoom shows were horrible.
Zoom but
I remember thinking everyone is panicked everywhere.
Really?
Every show, everyone is like desperate for the laugh.
Yes.
And it was like not fun to watch everyone like rushing around, including me. I was like, I need someone to validate me right now.
Yeah.
And so I feel like it was getting that muscle again of being like, not everyone's gonna laugh at some things are gonna flop, and you just have to be like, that's okay, we got it. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to be kind of the adult in the room if like things are getting weird, because the audience can tell it's getting weird. But if you don't act weird, then they'll be like, okay, it must be
it's
part
actually
of
not
it.
weird. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's under control.
It's fine. He's flying the plane. Maybe the wings have fallen off, but he seems to be okay. He seems to have experience with that. I think he likes it.
I think he likes it.
Yeah.
That's actually a pretty fun part. If the show is going terrible and like there's a guy who is a true master, loves it when things are going bad.
Yeah.
He's like, this is the best, you know, and that's a fun life skill, honestly. That, anyways, we'll get into that. Next political question: how can Asian people, okay, in particular, you know, whether we're talking about Asian Americans or what have you, how can we be more engaged? Like, you think there's some, I do think there is something in particular. Just speaking for Vietnamese people, okay, we're big Trump guys, okay?
Yeah.
and some of my family are, and in a weird way, it makes it, I don't want to say better, but I know my family as people, right? And they're not bad. They're like completely, like the logic isn't there, and I see what's happening. They've fallen for the sleight of hand trick, but at the same time, I'm like, I still love them, and I'm not gonna, disengage from them, and that kind of gives me quote unquote hope, because like, okay, well, I don't know if I can get them to vote the way I want to go, but I think I can just be a bulwark there. So that's one thing. That's just for my own like group of my little clan of like 20 people, right? But like broader, do you think there's something Asian folks need to do or can be engaged in, what have you?
Yeah. Well, we can start blaming Asians for all of the world's problems.
Yeah, I agree.
Like
I
they're
agree.
doing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I would think that the fact that this administration is using the Alien Enemies Act
Yeah.
for the first time since Japanese internment to do the kind of stuff they want to do should absolutely light up and outrage anybody under the AAPI umbrella. And I think the challenge with the AAPI NH, is the all of the above constituency that was definitely made by like a group of white men in a conference room.
For sure.
It's like, well, what is going to unite us? And if it's not things like that, in recognizing that they will come for your people as well,
Right.
Yep.
like between China and Israel, I'm due for a World War III glow up all of a
Yeah,
sudden,
yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And so I if that's not going to activate you, I think it's what you're saying, like from a family standpoint, and this is true for anybody from any culture, you back to like blunting the edge, you are maybe the only perspective that they are going to at least hear out that might be different from the bubble that they have, or in Asian households, maybe the only one like that can translate English, and news that isn't coming from full propaganda, sources. So, being able to share that and have patience and continue to do that, even if it seems like a lost cause. Once again, I think it's just helpful to be able to present differing perspective than the only thing they may be getting on WeChat.
And keep it funny.
I know. Keep it light.
Yeah.
It's also, I've spent my entire career trying to just like get one more vote. And when you can't get your family member who you know, it will make you question everything about your skill of
That's
like
hard.
mass communication.
I think that's really hard.
Yeah.
To try to get your family to vote a different way.
Yeah. Well, and then I'm not going to out specifically who in my family, but like someone refused to vote for Hillary, but down ticket Democrat. I'm like,
Okay.
But like I was like, what is that? And when you see that that's happening, directly in front of you, you recognize that's probably happening in a lot of other places too.
Yeah.
And that's when you start to be like, oh, we don't have it in the bag.
Yeah.
And so what can we do to adjust this kind of character perception and try and, humanize or back to like with Kamala, it was like, oh, what is her plan? It's like she has so many plans. Do you actually want to listen to them? No. You wanted like a hashtag, and it's so much easier to tear things down than the complicated, tax codes or whatever infrastructure.
Yeah.
Make infrastructure sexy.
Yeah.
That's what we gotta do.
Okay. You got another comedy exchange question? You don't have to. It's okay. You've reached. I mean, honestly, in 5 minutes, I've pretty much told you everything I know.
Yeah.
So it's
From here on out,
it's just I'm making.
Yeah.
It up.
I'm glad I got a speed run of the master class.
Yeah, exactly.
I think, Jenny, it's like what when you're approaching improv,
Yeah.
is there anything you come in wanting to do, or is it truly just the best you can do is free your mind, be Neo, and get silly?
First of all, I don't know what Neo is. I'm just kidding. Every time I'm like, I don't know what that reference is. I'm just too cool. I'm watching the NFL. I feel like I don't do as much improv as before, but my biggest thing now is just being not hard on myself if I don't. Because I think it's like a cyclical thing. Like if you convince yourself that you're not good at it anymore, or like you're not like practiced enough, then you do actually do badly, and then it's like this cyclical thing. So I've been trying to find the joy in performing again. So that has been my goal, is to not worry about the technicalities and just have fun. And usually I'll go in with one goal usually, which is like in improv, like I'm just gonna set the scene and have a point of view immediately. Which if you do improv, I promise that will make it much easier.
Yes.
To just like state who you are and what you believe in. And that might actually translate to stand up as well. Like if you just state who you are and what you believe in, that
yeah.
like makes it very easy for everyone to immediately jump onto what you are and
your point of view.
And your point of view.
Yeah.
But that's basically what I do. My biggest thing is that I used to plan too much, and like not let go enough, and that's not fun to watch. You want to see someone who's like pretty free and like can like go with whatever, and especially in I feel like in improv or sketch, you kind of want to see someone go cuckoo bananas. You need someone to ground it, but you also want to see someone like go for it.
You need to, do you feel you need to have both, like this the straight person and then also the crazy person?
I don't think you always need it, but I do think that like I subscribe to the fact that I was like, I'm a good voice of reason. Like I like always think that, which is good in some ways, because I do know that's my strength, is to be like, that's a little crazy. You're being a little crazy, like voice of reasoning it and pointing out the crazy stuff. But I think I did that too much to the point that I like didn't let myself do the other thing. So I'm like
You're
trying
just
to
the
let
Ted
myself.
Mosby on stage.
Yeah,
just
I'm like the Ted Mosby of the It's horrible. Like everyone's like, "There's Ted Mosby."
There's
no
Ted
one likes
again.
Ted Mosby. You know what I mean?
Sorry, Josh.
So I've been trying to let myself be the cookie person.
Oh.
I think that's very Asian to be like, I'm like controlled
the-
and like, yeah. And like, I'm the one who brings structure to the
Yes.
nonsense.
Yes.
And recently I've been like, I want to be the one who does nonsense.
Right. It does feel very Asian to be like, I'm not the dancer, I'm the DJ.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not the shooting guard, I'm the point guard.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Like that kind of thing.
So I'm trying to let myself be like whatever else.
Huh.
Like even my writing, I feel like I'm trying to let myself be stupider.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like my most recent sketch was literally, I was telling you.
Oh yeah.
Was just like people doing a seance on a Ouija board and they kept spelling butthole. That's it. That's it. It's like no deeper
embrace
meaning.
the derpy sort of.
Yeah, it's just so stupid. But I
Yeah.
was like, maybe it's okay to do stupid stuff. But that's a new revelation for me, because I always thought you have to like make a statement or whatever, like point out that people do this or whatever. And I was like, no, sometimes you could just say butthole a million times on stage, and that's the whole thing.
Yeah. Try to incorporate that into more of your policy work if
Yeah.
you can,
Yeah,
Josh.
Yeah. Be
Butthole.
stupider.
Honestly,
Yeah.
I swear to God, honestly, if some establishment Democrats tweeted butthole a couple of times, huge traction, massive traction. Maybe not in the way you want, but traction.
Well, what is a stump speech if not a set without any good jokes?
Yes.
Right? So it's like
Yo.
amazing what a couple
Just throw a
like
couple buttholes in
yeah, a
there.
couple
Yeah.
buttholes in there.
You know?
Throw a couple
Butthole
buttholes
for
in there.
Congress.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah, put that in your deck.
Well, this butthole, like in the middle of a
yeah. Yo.
Then everyone would
in the
wake up.
debate.
Maybe like, whoa.
Yeah.
That'd be the new malarkey. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah.
People be like,
Yeah. Put it
get
on
that on
Reddit.
coffee
Yeah.
mugs. Like it's like slogan. Put it in a yard sign.
Drink out
Yeah.
of this butthole. Okay, well.
I say that for real though at work. No, just kidding.
Yeah.
Drink out of this butthole.
Okay. Well, last question we want to have, and we're trying to ask this a little bit just because of the way things are going. What are you gonna bring to the internment camp? Is there something you're like, man? I really think of it almost like the Vogue "What's in My Birkin bag," but for internment camps.
Ah.
What do you carry into the internment? What can you live with? Is it lip gloss? You know?
I've never used chapstick in my life because I believe it's perceived need.
Whoa.
So
Interesting.
I just do that. That was it. That's all I
That's
needed.
crazy.
Yeah. So
That's
I
crazy.
can go without. What
Yeah.
do I need?
What do you take into the internment camp, dude?
Maybe just like a nice Tempur-Pedic memory foam pillow. Like, if I'm sleeping on the ground, but like I
Yeah.
got a little neck support,
Yeah,
that would
that's
feel
true. Neck
good.
support is really important.
Yeah.
When you're in the 1,000 man is it barracks or whatever, the
Yeah.
bunker that
Yeah.
they've got all the single males in. You got the Tempur-Pedic mattress.
Yes.
No, pillow.
Pillow.
Well, I mean,
Excuse me, not the mattress.
I'm not. Yeah, that was a little. It would be too much to
Whoa,
ask
hey,
for.
yeah, hey, take it
a
easy.
California king. And,
Yeah.
But yeah, I also think about like what my skill would be, and it's
Oh, yeah,
just
what's-
weird to I
I'm making a
got
podcast.
martial
Well,
arts. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They're like, this guy writes excellent tweets.
Yeah.
Send him to the.
yeah. We're all dead.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thanks so much for joining us on this show.
Yeah.
I know
Absolutely.
you've got to get back to Bernard.
Bernard.
You've got to do stuff. You got
Yeah.
a busy day, and we appreciate you coming here. Give us some perspective. I don't want to say hope because mold people like us, we don't do that. But showing us a little light. All right. Where can our fans find you and your work?
Well, I look forward to molding this world with you guys.
Hey,
Long time
hey,
listener, first
hey.
time molder. I am at jburstofa on Instagram, at jburst something, most other places. Josh at joshburstein.com for all your Josh Burstein needs. Yeah,
Yes.
just reach out. I will show up wherever you need me.
There we go. Do that. Follow us on Instagram at Asian Not Asian Pod. Find me on there, Nice Pants Bro.
I'm at Jenny Arimoto.
Thanks again for everybody. Check out our content at patreon.com/Asian Not Asian Pod. Check out our show, Hack City. And we love you. Stay moldy, everybody.
Yeah.
Stay strong.
Bye.
Bye.